Heyo, welcome back to Thoughts and Opinions Are Our Own. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Kirk.
Kirk,
Yes.
it's been a very fun month for us Americans. We had 4th of July.
4th of July, sure.
And now the Olympics.
The Olympics,
and
yep.
They're ending, but when they do the closing ceremony, they're going to hand it off to the mayor of LA. Because in 4 years from now, the Olympics are coming here to the USA.
Los Angeles, 2028. Represent. There you go.
They
Good
are
times.
going back to Salt Lake City, I think, in 2034 for the Winter Olympics. So
Keeping up with your Olympics in the future.
I'm very excited. But yeah, so a month ago, I'm trying to, find new ways to get used to where we're living now.
Yes.
And I had the opportunity to go to a Washington Nationals baseball game.
Oh, baseball.
In Washington, D.C.
Yes, D.C.
July 3rd, the night before. And wow, they know how to have fun.
Was that, were they hyped in? Because
they were, and thank goodness they won. So that was extra.
And they won.
They did fireworks, and then just driving through the city, you can see all the decorations too. And then the next day it's 4th of July, and even with the rain, it was raining in the afternoon, but then it cleared up. So then we had fireworks, we had friends and family, and then we had lots of good food. So it was super fun. You turn on the TV and it shows every city's doing their fireworks.
Right.
And then the last 2 weeks, it's been the Olympics in Paris.
Yep.
And of course, we're rooting for Team USA. But it's also fun to root for other countries too.
I just saw on, I think it was YouTube, there was a video. She was the last runner in the marathon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she came in 80th place out of 80.
Oh, wow.
I think Bhutan.
Yeah.
Bhutan. She was from Bhutan, but supposedly their story goes she made a promise that she was going to finish the marathon no matter what.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
She finished she was an hour after the 79th runner. So, but they stayed. There were people running beside her.
And wasn't this the last event of the Olympics? So
so the marathon,
the last athlete, within the marathon, but
yes.
the last of any athlete.
So she was the last athlete to complete the competition because you're right, because usually the marathon is the last event for the Olympics. So people were riding their bikes and motorcycles were right behind her, kind of cheering her on. People running with flags and
I
tried to high five her, and then she completed. It took her almost 4 hours, But I was thinking about, obviously here in America, we have a lot of freedom. And like you said, with the July 4th, and we celebrate. Obviously, we have a lot of...
It's been a very hype month.
But other countries have opportunities in some ways. And looking at what you just said with the baseball and athletics, obviously with the Olympics, other countries have opportunities, but maybe they don't have the opportunities we have here in America. And I know... I think you told me about the opening ceremonies. We had the most athletes on the boats or something.
Dude, we looked
going down the river.
Yes. So the opening ceremony's going on, is it the Seine River?
Oh, yeah, in Paris. Yeah.
And some countries, God bless them, they only had 3 or 4 athletes.
Total.
Yeah, and they would share the boat
with other
countries. And then, we were the second to last, because, alphabetically, whatever, United States.
Because
France, whoever's hosting will come last. So France was hosting last.
Yes.
And right before France, you could hear them chanting USA. You could hear
them coming down the river. USA,
and they looked like they were about to bust open the boat, and then all the memes about LeBron holding
the flag, yeah.
But I mean, you can see. I think we had 594 athletes, which is so crazy.
Well, again, I think it's because we have so many opportunities here, and I know other
Americans love athletics.
We love athletics here. We sure do. With little kids, obviously.
Yeah.
This is a true story. I was literally on the tennis court about, was it a month ago, 2 months ago, with my grandson.
Yeah.
Who's not even 2 yet. Yep. Not even 2 yet. And I gave him a little tennis racket. And he and I are hitting the ball. And we're rolling the ball back and forth and get him on the tennis court. So here I am starting him at not even 2. He was 1 in 8 months or 10 months. So yes, athletics is big. But obviously other countries, it was cool. It was cool to see that runner from Bhutan. It was cool to see how other countries take it.
It was cool to see the girl from Ukraine with the pole jump. It was cool.
Oh yeah.
It was cool.
Yes,
and
obviously, yes.
She did her makeup blue and yellow, and then she has the Ukraine flag, and you're like, my gosh, and they do the backstory, and her mom was like, with everything going back in our town, it's good for her to get out and to compete for our country.
Well, I think
and you're like, oh wow, that like gets you right in the heart.
America, like you said, we're so used to having so many athletes representing the Olympics, so many sports, obviously that kids can get involved in at a young age. Other countries, I think they do have some freedoms in terms of choice, but of sports. But then other countries, like you said, if they only have 3 or 4 athletes represented, I mean, again, good for them for qualifying and getting to the Olympics.
You made it.
They figured it out, right? They figured it out, and again, overcoming any kind of obstacles. But so today's theme was going to be the word freedom in terms of, again, what we have in America, celebrating July 4th. We've been given a lot of opportunities here, and other people from other countries, they come here, whether they're looking for the American dream or whether they looking for opportunities, like I said, with athletics. I know with tennis, a lot of the pro tennis players, wherever they're coming from, a lot of them they like to come to Florida, and they like to train there. There's some good academies in Florida. And especially when they're younger, they leave home at whatever, 8, 10, 12, and they join the school and the academies there, and they train, and they think that's going to help them become pro athletes. So anyhow, so you enjoyed the baseball game, obviously.
Yeah, that was really
we've
fun.
Enjoyed,
it's fun just like watching all the athletes compete, and obviously you want America to win, but I think if we were from Canada, we'd want Canada to win.
Of course.
So I think it's you get a little like I'm proud to be where I'm from. And then, you're like, oh, wait, where is that country? Then I have to remember 10th grade geography.
10th grade.
But I think other countries, too, they also offer different opportunities and freedoms that maybe we don't have here in America.
Well, I think, yes, Canada, I believe Canada has the healthcare. Some of it is free, or a lot of it is free, whereas here in America we have to pay. And obviously, not to get too political, controversial, but the gun.
Yeah. Even maternal, paternal leave when you have
paternal, yes. Other countries might give.
And then the food, apparently our food's not super healthy here. But yet somehow these athletes, I don't know, the math isn't mathing on that one. But anyway.
I will say in terms of physical, mental and emotional freedoms, we do have. But I also have the opportunity to talk about spiritual freedom. Yes. We believe, obviously, you and I were raised in Christian homes, and we just shared the previous podcast back in April of this year. My mom died, and we did, a tribute to her in the last pod. But I was thinking about her the last few months, obviously, since she died, and I believe she's in heaven. She had a strong faith. She knew where she was going, and so I think. To be born and raised here in America in a Christian home, you believe the Bible, you believe God, created you for a purpose, and and everyone has to work out their salvation with Him and figure it out, and what they're supposed to be doing with their life. But I know, like I said, I know she had a strong faith right up until the end, and I know, again, I know she's in heaven. I know she's having so much fun in heaven, but I was thinking about that, the spiritual freedoms that we have also here.
And it's not just one country; it's universal.
Jesus is for everyone. Yes, that is correct. Jesus is for everyone who's ever lived, and I like that. I really like that about Christianity. And I know sometimes people rip on Christianity that some people have abused it in different ways, and
I think American Christians lately, I don't know, they've.
So anyhow, but I liked, again, thinking about freedom the last 2 months, 3 months, and since my mom died, but we believe in that. We believe that if you have a strong faith in God,
you're free. We sing about it.
That's right. And in the scripture, obviously, when he sends Jesus, the scripture. Whom the Son sets free is free indeed. So you can quote that.
They're praise and worship songs.
We walk praise and worship. Freedom. That's right. Walking in freedom.
We're no longer in chains.
That's right. We're no longer in bondage. That's right. So to kind of put a Christian perspective on it, I do like that we have that, obviously. And other countries, of course, they have every religion tries to figure out, what their purpose is.
Yeah.
But especially here again, because Christianity is so prevalent here in America. Now that I'm getting older, I realize the opportunities that I've had, whether it was playing Little League baseball or tennis or basketball, or football, whatever the sports that I played growing up. And now that I'm a coach, now that I see it, 40, 50 years later, how big athletics is, but also then my faith, that I was raised in a family that took their faith, seriously, and going to church was important, and talking about your faith was important, and doing devotions and praying and
getting involved.
Yes. Getting involved in a youth group. Yes. You did that. I did that. Your sisters did that. Your mom did that. So
then we did those extracurricular activities. What was it? Sticks in motion, missionettes, the puppets. We would go door to door.
I did.
I'm doing everything.
God bless you, Jordan. I remember I joined the Bible quizzing team. Team, where you had to. This is a true story. You had to study. It was a book of the Bible. And I remember the book of Acts, actually. It was one year, the book of Acts that stood out. And so you had to memorize scripture. You had to memorize like the story, like, what's going on in Acts 1 all the way through like Acts 28, and, who was the author and what was the, meaning of it and the perspective of it. And then you would, your team from your church you'd go meet up at like some big tournament on Saturdays, and you'd actually compete with like little buzzers. We had to hit a little buzzer.
Oh, like Family Feud.
Kind of like Family Feud, yes. Yeah. The guy, the moderator, whoever the guy was.
Christian Jesus
edition. It was, And so they asked the question, and then it was like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 of us over on a table, and then 3 or 4 from other people from this other church.
Sounds like it's mathletes or something.
And so...
but like, again, Christian version.
But I tell you what,
do you think they still do that now?
I remember doing that, and I was probably... 11,
I remember
12,
you showing
13.
me the trophies.
Yes. My old church in Michigan. That's right. I good times. It was fun.
I wonder where that trophy is now.
Well, anyhow. So
I remember in missionettes, in order to become the honor star, I had to read the whole New Testament.
Oh yeah.
And I had that checklist, and then they would also it was like a test. It would be like fill in the blanks, and you got to fill in. They wanted me to know like 30 or 40 memory verses, and so I would. And I actually, when we were moving, I found it. I think I threw it away because I was like, "What do I need this for?" But I got 2 wrong because I put in like a different verb instead of like the right one. I'm like, right, it's NIV instead of King James version. So sorry, but yeah, that is pretty funny.
This year, looking back, we're halfway through the year now, 2024. It's been interesting, living here now on the East Coast. We've talked about that obviously a lot on the pod, but it's been, you just started a new job. I just, with what happened with my mom, it's interesting looking back the last 6, 7, 8 months now. And my granddaughter was born, back in February. Which was so cool. So I feel like there's been some highs and kind of some lows.
I feel like
this year.
We've had the highest of highs, and then we've also had the lowest of lows, if that's possible. I feel like it's, what is it, a tale of two cities? Like, it's the greatest of years, it's the worst.
It's been an interesting year. It's been
like a crazy roller coaster. But I feel like you, me, and Mom, we've really grown and changed a lot. And she calls it growing pains, and maybe it is or isn't. But yeah, I mean, I think like we all got new jobs. We're all living somewhere new. We all got new cars.
Yeah.
We had a family death, which was sad, but then, we did, have
a granddaughter. My granddaughter.
Yeah, so that was fun. And, just to see, my nephew, like how fast he's grown.
He's almost 2.
Yeah. And how fast that is. So, yeah, there have been some really cool highlights, but then there have also been some really low lights too. And honestly, like, if I wasn't a Christian, I don't know, I would have been crying so much more. So it is nice knowing that I can, like, lean into my faith. Sure. And I can pray and be like, God, I don't know. Like,
interesting you said that. Circling back to the Olympics, I did notice some of the American athletes, maybe other countries too, they would try to thank
give
God.
Glory to
yes.
God. Yeah.
Because I think if they realized, hey,
they've been blessed with that.
I've been blessed with a physical body that can run super fast, or that can go over the hurdles super fast, or I can play basketball like you said, like LeBron,
or like Simone Biles. I can
or
go
Simone,
like 12 feet in
gymnastics.
the
She
height.
can, she can jump up 12 feet, and she's just 4'10" or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they realize, hey, I've been given this opportunity.
Yes,
this
they're
athletic
training.
is. Yes,
and
they're training, of course.
Healthy,
Yep.
But also, like, they're
Yes.
doing something special
Yes.
that like the average person can't.
And I think they know that. I think
Yeah.
if you were to ask them like one-on-one, like, hey, you realize this gift that I think they would say yes. Whether they believe in God or not, I think that most of them would go, yes, I do realize I've been given a gift that maybe other people don't have. And so, but it was cool. It was really cool to hear the Christians. It was cool to hear the Christians.
I think someone told her, they're like, you can't say anything about God. So she takes off her number and she writes and she shows it and she goes like, Jesus is God, or God is Lord, or Jesus is, she said something. So she's like, fine, you whatever, I'll play your game. And I'm like, good for her.
That's because I sometimes the media, they don't, they think Jesus is controversial, but and whether he is or isn't, I think that's good though, that athletes, I think that's good that they can take that opportunity and realize, again, there's a higher being. Yes, there's a higher power that has blessed them and given them this opportunity. And again, here they are on an international stage, circling back into what we just said about Jesus. Jesus is universal. Yeah. Jesus is for everyone. Obviously, not just America, but every person who's ever lived in any and all countries. Jesus died on the cross for them. And so I think that was cool. I think, again, I know sometimes people look at America in a certain way, and other countries might think we're, the bully of the world, or we're arrogant, and, but again, and America's not perfect, obviously, but we do have, again, circling back to freedom, then we do have a lot that we offer in terms of freedoms that other countries don't have.
And I like to think we like to have fun, and we like to cheer on other people. We like a good underdog story.
Of course. Oh, of course.
And I think too, once you realize, like, okay, like, yeah, America's not perfect, but, they are proud of their own people. There is a little bit of that pride element, but in a good way. Like, you need like a healthy dose of it. Then I think they can be like, okay. And I think every country wants to try to like do that too. So I don't know. I just remember, I think, like when it was in Canada, for 2010 in Vancouver, I think the Olympics. Canada was very excited. And then in 2012, when it was in England, all of, I remember like the royal family was there. So that is cool. Like, you're in London. So, and then even, I think it was like 2016, it was in Brazil, and it showed the big Jesus statue. So it is cool for like the world to kind of show off like the highlights of their country. But yeah, it's really cool to be able to see that. And kind of like Jesus is universal. Sports are universal too.
Sports is, I was thinking about what you just said. I was thinking about 1980, the Miracle on Ice.
Oh yeah, great story.
When obviously the hockey team, won the gold medal, and talk about underdogs.
Yeah,
they were big underdogs, and the fact that even the line when the clock is ticking down, 10 seconds, 9, 8, and the announcer goes, "Do you believe in miracles?" And he goes, "Yes," because then they did that, winning the game against Russia and the Soviet Union. That was such a miracle. It literally was a sports miracle, because not a lot of people believed that they were going to win the gold or win or beat that game, which was actually it was like the Final Four game. It was the semifinals, and then they go on to the finals and they do win the gold. So I think you're right. I think with sports, there again, I would like to think most athletes believe that there's some kind of spiritual element in sports, especially at that high elite level. And so, anyhow, that was really good. That was fun. Freedom. It's a lot of freedom, Jordan, here in obviously in America, but also in other countries. And again, representing the sports, I think it's been fun with the Olympics. And I know you're hype already for LA 2028.
Okay, I'll be very honest. My goal, I've always loved the Olympics. I've always been very excited about it. You've encouraged me to work for it's called the IOC, yes. The International Olympic Committee.
That's right.
And it is cool where if you are like an athlete from I think refugee like country, you can actually, if you don't want to, represent your country and do them under their flag, you can go under the Olympic flag, which is really cool.
Yes.
I think it's kind of a new thing. And like seeing it in the opening ceremony, and then we'll probably see it at the closing ceremony too. Just seeing how they light the torch and how it passes from the previous country, and then all the athletes. And it is a little like pomp and circumstance and showy, but it is really beautiful. And then you see the flag too, and then they play the anthem for the IOC.
Yep.
So I would like to work for them in the future. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. And I think, like, since we started this podcast, I think I've had like 3 or 4 jobs now. The one place I worked at, I was getting promoted a lot, which is cool.
Yes.
So clearly I'm going through something. And as U2 says, I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Okay.
But, I mean, watching this, I'm like, okay, yeah, like, I think I've always known. Maybe I was a little confused when I was younger. I would really like to get to LA. So I have like 4 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
Whether I buy a house, which that would be a miracle in the in the U.S. economy. But you know what? I'm just gonna speak positivity out
That's
there.
right. Maybe Jesus,
I heard
that's right.
a coworker the other day. She's thinking about retirement. She's like, "Oh, in this economy, like I don't even know." I'm like, "No, like don't think that negative thought. Like you
Stay
can,
positive.
like you'll figure
Stay
it out.
positive.
Like it's out there. It's like finding, you know, like a gem." But anyway, so I even changed the background of my phone to show LA
2028
with the Olympics,
Yes.
just trying to like somehow manifest it or see it or get it out there. So I was looking at jobs the other day, and I'm like, I may have to go back to college. But yeah, no, I'm excited. And then I think in 2 years it's going to be in Milan, Italy for the winter sports.
Oh wow.
And then it comes to LA in 4 years. I don't know where it will be for winter of 30. But it will be in Australia in 2032.
Cool.
Queensland. And then it comes to US, and then I don't know where it will be in 2036.
Well, good luck to you on your aspirations
My
of
endeavors.
being there in 4
Hey,
years.
maybe there's someone listening from the IOC.
Maybe from the IOC or someone.
Shout out to all of our international.
Maybe one of we'll have a famous athlete listening to our pod. You're like, you know what? We really like that pod. Thoughts and opinions. I like that pod. They're getting me ready to get ready for LA 2028.
I will say though, there was like an article saying how there's a lot of like athletes from the DMV.
Oh, here, East Coast.
Yeah, and
there are. No, there really are.
And then you knew one of those runners. From
oh
Michigan.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I won't call out his name, but you're right. Okay, thank you so much.
You went to school with his dad.
I went to school.
And then Aslan went to school with him.
Yes. He went to the same high school as Aslan. So you're
I think he was 2 or 3 years younger.
He's a couple years younger than Aslan, who was my youngest daughter. Obviously, your younger sister. You're right. And his dad.
She's been on the pod before.
Aslan's been on that. His dad. So this runner that just what was it? The 800 meters or 16?
I think he got 5th place.
I think he got 5th place.
But
God bless him. He did great though. It was his personal best.
I'm hoping to see him in 4 years.
You're right. His dad, because I recognized the name, I'm like, I went to school with his dad back in Michigan back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And true story, his dad was on the cross country team at my old high school in Michigan, and now his son literally is an Olympian, running the 1600.
There you go.
Or whatever. And good times. That was interesting. I'm like, I think my buddy Mike is there, probably cheering on his son. Anyhow, thanks for bringing that up.
That is so cool.
That was cool. That was really. I didn't see Mike on the TV. But I'm like, I'm guessing if his son is there running, representing, I'm guessing he probably flew over to Paris and enjoyed, cheering on his son. That was an interesting segue to that. Thanks for bringing that back. Okay.
You're welcome. Well, yeah. Well, thank you for listening. Hopefully you'll see me at the Olympics doing I don't know what.
2028.
If you recognize my voice, you're like, wait a minute, why is she greeting everybody? There you go. Even in the Australia one, so we'll see. But thank you so much for listening, and remember, you have a lot of freedom.
That's right. Rock and roll.